Hello folks, Mr. Laurie here, and it's time for your week 13 video. And in this week's video, we're going to talk all about collisions. Collisions occur anytime objects run into each other. We think about things crashing, pushing, bumping, all kinds of different actions that we associate with collisions. Collisions are sometimes dangerous. Collisions can cause great harm. Collisions are also necessary and important aspects of many very ordinary things in our lives. Right behind me is a very simple example of a collision. My wind chimes, which show up in many of my videos. The wind chimes take the wind energy, and because of the movement of the string and the pendulum mass at the bottom, there are tiny little collisions going on between the striker of wood and the metal tubes. This is a form of collision that we call an elastic collision. And what's happening here is the movement is causing a collision between the objects, and the objects do not change their shape in response to that collision. In other words, these objects aren't getting dented or bent or broken or falling apart as they are stricken by each other. Instead, they're gently turning the motion energy into some sound energy and a little bit of heat, but a lot of the motion just continues. You see, there's two types of collisions. There are collisions we call elastic collisions and collisions we call inelastic collisions. Now, you don't actually have to know about these two types of collisions at this point in your education, but I'm still going to give you an idea so that you have examples of these later on when you need it in your future science classes. Now, I wanted to show you an example of an elastic collision using my basketball, but my basketball is flat. And before I pump it up, I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about the concept of pressure. So a basketball, like any ball or like tires, for example, these are objects that hold air inside them. And the air inside them allows them to hold their shape, but it also allows them to recover their shape when they get pushed. If there's inadequate air in the basketball, well, it's just kind of a sad bounce. So what I'm going to do is inflate the ball. So I'm going to take a air pump, and using my own force, I'm going to be pushing air into the ball from the outside in. That will increase the pressure inside the ball. You can imagine the pressure as being a whole bunch of lines, arrows of force, pushing all around in a circle, in a sphere, pushing towards the outside of the ball. Then, once the ball is pressurized, when you drop it or bounce it, you push it down towards the ground, the pressure inside the ball pushes to recover the shape of the ball. So as it falls, it hits the ground and it kind of smashes the ball a little bit, and then it pushes off to regain its shape, and that's what causes the ball to fly back into the air. And that's the way the ball bounces. There are many examples of elastic conditions that don't involve objects like a bouncy ball. For example, when you play a game of pool or you go bowling, the objects that you're using aren't like a rubber bouncy ball, but the objects still bounce. So when you're playing pool, the white cue ball will be hitting the other balls on the table, knocking them into the pockets on the edges of the table. The objects are not changing their shapes so much as they are transferring the energy between each other. In inelastic collisions, the objects will break or crack or permanently change their shape in a way that all of the kinetic energy or the energy of motion is changed into another form. So as we go about our lives and we're thinking about the collisions, the things that we might run into or bump into, a lot of the times these collisions are fairly minor, just a little bump or a scratch. Sometimes you trip, sometimes you fall. Once in a while, we ourselves suffer damages from collisions. When I ran into the fence post, I had a collision with the fence post. I stumbled and dropped my cup. My cup fell to the ground, and as it did so, its motion energy was turned into damage. The heat that built up because of that fall actually changed the structure of the cup so that the pieces themselves are no longer connected. So this is what we call an inelastic collision. Inelastic collisions tend to be more dangerous. In the old days, they used to build cars with steel bumpers. The idea being that you just want to protect your car from the other things around you. You don't care if your car is hitting or damaging other things. They just tried to build it strong enough so when you hit something at low speed, you wouldn't damage your vehicle. But we learned over time that the way that you can protect the passengers better in cars is they actually build crumple zones into cars. So cars have bumpers, but they also have parts of the vehicle that are designed to actually collapse in when there's a collision. That collapsing changes the shape of the car. It damages the car, so then the passengers don't get pushed or knocked in a way that might harm the actual living human beings inside the vehicle. I learned to drive in a 54 Chevy truck. It was old, heavy steel bumpers, steel fenders. There wasn't any plastic on this vehicle at all. And in those days, when you had a collision, generally people were not going as fast in their cars, and cars would hit each other and not actually change shape. So if I bumped another car with the Chevy truck, I would send the other vehicle moving along. So they built these rigid structures. The trouble is what would happen in the old days is the cars would hit each other. The cars would survive, but the passengers inside would suffer great damage. Over time, they developed technologies with these crumple zones so that instead, when you have vehicles, hit other objects, the cars actually take that kinetic energy, the energy of motion, and they transfer it into heat that changes the shape of the cans. So a collision is more like this. And these crumpled vehicles are designed to absorb the damage so that the passengers inside survive. When I'm riding my bike, I try not to have collisions with people and other bicyclists and things like trees. Try not to run into things and get hurt, but there are collisions that occur all the time, even when I'm riding safely. These collisions usually occur with the ground, with things that I'm riding over, like bumps, branches, and rocks, and things like that. And because of that, they build mountain bikes with shocks, hydraulics. These absorbers, they absorb some of the impact. And so what happens is they're changing their shape. And so some of the motion energy is turned into heat so that when I hit a big bump, my bike kind of bounces along, changing its shape and keeps it so that I am not absorbing all of that energy and it's not being transferred to me, which would, make me suffer damage as I'm riding or shake me up a lot. Instead, I get a smoother ride as I go because these springs are absorbing that motion. Collisions that occur on an air track or in situations where there's very low friction, they will conserve much of the kinetic energy. In other words, one object moving hits the other object, and the objects will be transferring almost all of that energy into continued movement or continued kinetic energy. So you get a situation where the energy just makes the objects just keep on going and going and going.